What is up, guys? Welcome to this video, and what I'll be doing here is going over who I think will be the main villain of Season 7 of Arrow and explaining who they are. Now, this isn't really an opinion-based video because it's basically been confirmed who will be the main villain, unlike in my review or my video for Season 4 of Legends of Tomorrow, where we have no idea who the main villain of Legends of Tomorrow Season 4 is as of right now, as of the upload of this video, or at least the recording of this video. So I had a lot more to talk about there just because I had more to speculate about. But in this season, it's basically been confirmed who the main villains are, and those are the Longbow Hunters. The Longbow Hunters were referenced in the season finale of Arrow, and that doesn't specifically say that they are the main villains of the next season of Season 7, but I think like the writer or the showrunner behind the show, or the new showrunner, said that the reference of the Longbow Hunters is very similar to how they referenced Damien Dark in the Season 3, maybe not season finale, but close to the season finale. It's very similar to that, which means that the Longbow Hunters will almost definitely be the main villain of Season 7. But the question is, who are the Longbow Hunters? Well, the Longbow Hunters, at least on the show, are a group of 3 assassins. We don't know who the assassins are yet, but I have a feeling that a single one of them will be the same as the members in the comics. Now, the Longbow Hunters in the comics are a group of 5 people and have the ally of Kroc that have no history behind them. I don't think they've been in a lot of comics, and they've been in apparently just like 4 issues of comic books as a team, so they don't really have any backstory. They're just a team who came together and fought the Green Arrow in a couple of comic books, and they consist of Richard Dragon, aka Ricardo Diaz, because his name in the comics is not the Dragon, it's Richard Dragon, or the second Richard Dragon. Actually, the first one is Richard Dragon, the second one is Ricardo Diaz, aka Richard Dragon, but he is the leader of the group, which they probably will adapt to the show, but I'm not exactly sure about that because he was the main villain of Season 6. I don't really want to see him as the main villain of Season 7 as well, so I'd rather if he was not the leader of this group and on the side. But this group also consists of other characters that have already appeared on Arrow, like Count Vertigo, who I doubt will ever come back. We haven't seen him, I think, since Season 3, and even then he was not a very good villain. And then there's the other one, the Count, who was very comic book inaccurate, but I thought he was a very good villain. But he died. He's not coming back ever. So that's one member from the comics that's basically ruled out, probably because the actor might come back, the character might come back, who knows, but he hasn't been around since Season 3, so I highly doubt it. The second member, or the third member of the group, is another character that has already appeared on Arrow, and that is Brick. Brick appeared in Season 3 for a couple episodes. He was like the secondary main villain of the season. He was the main villain for a couple episodes, and he was there, he was gone. He never appeared since, although it is very possible for him to return just because I think he is in jail now. He didn't die back when they fought him. They put him in jail, and they might have put him in Supermax, which is where Oliver Queen went. So it's very possible that Oliver Queen is in prison with Brick, which is how the Longbow Hunters either recruit him, because we know the Longbow Hunters are a group of assassins and they're not in prison. I'm pretty sure that was confirmed. Like, nobody ever said that, but they said that Diaz said that he contacted them, which means that they're not in prison. So maybe Brick will be recruited by them, which is very possible, but it's also very possible that Brick never shows up and never joins the Longbow Hunters as well. I don't know really how I feel about this. I thought Brick was a pretty good villain, but I don't think he's a villain that I would ever want to see back. Other members include Red Dart, who is a character I've never heard of before researching the Longbow Hunters for a video that I did at the beginning of Season 6, because Ricardo Diaz was confirmed to be the main villain, and then they said there's going to be a villain group, so I thought it's definitely going to be the Longbow Hunters, but it turned out it was the villainous cabal of Caden James, so I was wrong about that. But I was, I guess, a season off because they're using the Longbow Hunters here, but I never heard of Red Dart before researching this for that video, and Red Dart's another character that I don't think they're going to use for the show, just because I don't really know why. She's just an incredibly obscure character that I will be very disappointed if she's one of the 3 big assassins of the Longbow Hunters, because I've never heard of her. I think she could be replaced by other like famous DC assassins, which I will talk about in a minute, who I think should be on that team. That's a hint, but Red Dart is definitely not one of those characters. I definitely don't think she will be on the Longbow Hunters this or next, or it is this year, but next season. The last member of the Longbow Hunters is Killer Moth, who is a character that, I don't think they're going to use for Arrow, at least as one of the members of the Longbow Hunters, because he's not a character that I could take seriously. He's a ridiculous character in terms of his name and his costume and all of that, so I don't think they're going to use him for like one of the main villains of the season. Also, he's a Batman villain. He's more of a Batman villain, so maybe Warner Brothers has him off limits, but again, I also doubt that because he's not a character I think they'd ever use in a Batman movie. Maybe on Gotham, but they've never really restricted characters who have appeared on Gotham to appear on Arrow, except for like the big ones, because Ra's al Ghul has appeared on both, and other characters have appeared on both. I think Firefly too. So that's again though, Killer Moth is not a character I think they will use for one of the main villains of a season. And then the last character who isn't on the team but is an ally of the Longbow Hunters is Kroc. Kroc has appeared in the Arrowverse I think a couple times, but I think he's gone because the actor hasn't appeared in a while, so he's probably gone, and he's not an assassin, so he wouldn't be on this team, so I see no reason for him to come back. With all that in mind, though, who will be on the Longbow Hunters in the Arrowverse and Arrow Season 7? Well, I think obviously Ricardo Diaz will on the team. Will be on the team. It's possible that Brick will be on the team too, so that is 2 members down, and I think there will probably be 3, I mean not probably, there is definitely going to be 3 assassins that have not appeared yet that will appear in Season 7 who will be on the team, so I think in total the team will consist of 5 people, 1 being Ricardo Diaz, 2 being Brick probably, and then the 3 assassins who I will name right now. So I think the 3 assassins might be the first one, Lady Shiva, just because she's a very famous DC assassin. She's like one of the best fighters in the DC universe, like Ricardo Diaz. So 1, she could possibly train Ricardo Diaz during Season 7, during the break between 6 and 7, so Ricardo Diaz becomes a better fighter like he is in the comics. 2, she's just a character that I don't see them ever using in the movies, so it's possible, because she's more of a Batman villain, it is possible for them to use her in the show in spite of her being a Batman villain, because she's not a character I see them using in the movies, so that's possible as well. So I think Lady Shiva would be a good fit for the Longbow Hunters in Season 7, mostly because I really want her to be, I want them to introduce a character that can train Ricardo Diaz during the break and have them already be in contact by Season 7 and have him more trained as a fighter than he is right now. So the Lady Shiva, I think she'll be a member of the team, and the next assassin is Cheshire. Now, Cheshire, aka Jade Nagayan, I don't really know how to pronounce that, is an assassin from the DC Universe as well, and I think they should introduce her simply for the fact because Roy Harper is returning in the next season without Thea, which means he's going to be single, and a very famous coupling from the comics is Cheshire and Arsenal or Red Arrow or Speedy, just because they have a daughter together. So I think if they adapt a storyline like that to the show, that can be a very interesting storyline. Also, it can make Cheshire become more of a good girl in the season and could have her turn on the Longbow Hunters because of Roy. So I think that would be an interesting storyline they could use in Season 7, which is really the only reason I want her to be on the Longbow Hunters. Also, she is more of a Green Arrow villain and really more of an Arsenal villain. Not really a villain at times, but I think it's Season 7 and they still haven't used her. I think they probably saved her for when Roy Harper returns. So I think there's no better time to use Cheshire on the show. They could also use her to introduce Artemis, if they like a new Artemis, because she's the sister of Artemis in the Young Justice universe, so they could do that as well. But really, I think her relationship with Roy Harper and the fact that he's coming back in the next season is a pretty big giveaway towards the fact that they probably will use Cheshire in the next season, as well as probably her father as well. So Cheshire's father, at least in the Young Justice universe, because they're not really related in the comics, is Sportsmaster, aka Lawrence Kroc. Now Lawrence Kroc is Sportsmaster, obviously, and I think he would work as the main villain of the season, honestly, maybe even like the leader of the Longbow Hunters, but the main villain of the season, if Ricardo Diaz isn't the main villain of the season again, just because I think like if they model him after his Young Justice counterpart or adaptation, because his comic book version of himself is a little wonky and a little cheesy, so they probably shouldn't use that. But if they model this character after his Young Justice counterpart, I think that he could make a pretty good main villain, just because I think he would work as a main villain. Also, he's an assassin, so he would work on the Longbow Hunters. But I think Sportsmaster, aka Lawrence Kroc, Cheshire, aka Jade, I still don't know how to pronounce that, as well as Lady Shiva will be the 3 main assassins from the Longbow Hunters. I might be wrong about all three. I might be wrong about a couple, but we'll just have to wait and see for them either to confirm or at least actually show us in like half a year when season 7 comes out. But that's who I think will be the main villain of Arrow season 7: Sportsmaster, Cheshire, Lady Shiva, Ricardo Diaz, and Brick, with probably Sportsmaster being the main villain, or maybe Ricardo Diaz. I'm honestly not really sure. So, who do you think will be on the Longbow Hunters? Let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.